the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
I think more people will want to listen to Veronica
I think so.
with the recovering voice.
Yes, absolutely. So give the audience a little sample of.
See how she put her microphone in?
I know.
She complains that the microphone's too low, and then she puts the microphone 9 feet in the air.
She sets it up for Manute Bowl, who's our special guest today.
For those of you who don't follow basketball from the 1980s, Manute Bowl was a 7'7" center who played for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Are you surprised I threw that out?
That was awesome. That was well done.
Been hanging out with you for a long time.
I know.
No, but Veronica was gone past 2 shows, and she wasn't because she was under the weather, but she came back in yesterday. She's got the allergies, the sniffles, and whatnot. And so today we're making her talk. But Veronica, it's your time to shine.
Hello.
Yeah. See?
Hello, everyone.
See? She's got the Phoebe from Friends.
Yeah, she does.
Voice.
She does.
You know, when she's just like a little bit, a little something still recovering there.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It works. And she's brought the microphone down to a more sensible.
She has. She's brought it down to Kevin Hart.
Yes. So Veronica is 6 feet tall. For those of you who don't know this,
tall gal.
and she is like a proud. She's a proud 6-footer. She stands tall.
Don't you even hint that she's 5'11" and a half.
No. If you do, she'll crush you.
Right.
She'll crush you.
Yeah.
And she can do it.
Yeah.
Mostly with her heart, with just the power of her positivity, she can crush you.
With
And literally,
her rays of light.
Literally, too, yeah. But I think that sometimes Veronica, in order to make sure that everybody understands that this isn't a joke, that she's 6 feet tall, she'll, like the microphone there, when it was too low, that was a complaint. And then she just put it up to Manute Bowl height because she's like, this is how tall I am.
This is how big I am.
But then the funny thing is reality sometimes strikes, and she's
like,
looking up at the microphone. She's like, well, I am still tall, though.
And I'm sitting in a chair, so that changed the whole dynamic of where the microphone needs to be. Yes.
It's great to be back, guys.
We are glad that you're back.
The show is terrible without you.
They were panned by critics.
Yes.
Panned. Like it was
where you're panning for gold?
Yes.
Like they were in the water, like I would do anything else other than listen to the show.
I have found literally unvaluable medals.
Unvaluable metal.
But I will rather pan for these than...
I would rather pan for quartzite.
This is worthless, but I would rather do this than listen to the Biofriendly Podcast without Veronica.
Yes.
But now that you're back, ratings are through the roof. This is basically our sweeps week in television, where we've done a couple episodes that have really stunk, and then now we know it's more than ever now. It's time for the eyes and ears to be watching and listening to the show, especially since the WJ is still on strike. So this is the only content you can consume right now.
There is nothing to watch, and we will be jumping a shark.
Yes, let's jump the shark.
Yeah, just to make sure that the people really can tune in.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had I want to tell her and the audience if they don't know what jumping the shark is. I want to tell them that, but you had a production request, so I didn't want you to forget that.
Oh, yes. So I was informed very exciting statistics about it. The show is blooming.
It's zipping.
The show is zipping. We're back on top again, baby.
Back on top.
For a while, like when we did our experimenting, the show did a little dip.
It did.
And then it slowly came back after we reformatted the format. But the last little while, but it didn't have like that monster growth that it was having. And baby,
it's starting to happen now.
We're back, baby. It's rising.
Yeah.
And so Jacob was just telling me about the thousands of people on Instagram who keep watching our clips.
Yeah. Our little minute and a half clips that I put on our Instagram, which if you're not following, it's at Biofriendly Planet. I put them up once a week when we put out a new show, and when you look at how many are being watched on our reels, it's thousands. Thousands, and I'm like, that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
But you have a request?
I do.
Yeah.
So I have been starting to actually pay attention to Instagram again.
You have.
I have.
Great to have you there.
I've been working on it. I've been doing a little better. Posting. Basically, I got inspired by one Weird Alvin Yankovic.
Yes.
It's Alfred, actually.
Is it Alfred?
It's Alfred, yeah. Yankovic, because we went to see him in the show, which we've talked about here. I'm not going to belabor the point.
Right.
Fantastic as it was. and going out there and doing that, I was like, oh, man, this is why people share, because if you meet Al, how could you not tell
How do you not tell the entire world
like everybody
about this
needs
moment?
to know. I got the picture there in the story. I had to.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, this is the point of social media. So I'm trying to do that and share that stuff. And I was
Share
like, okay,
things.
well, if I'm sharing that, I probably got to get back out and share the podcast again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've been sharing the podcast on my stories.
Yeah.
But I realized that because I've got a stupid you suck at Instagram account. The kind of account that's literally private. I have a private.
You have a private account. Oh.
I share my Instagram and I think, oh, this is gonna go viral, and then my daughter laughs at me because I'm like, honey, I got 100 people like it.
She's like, it's all the
She's
people
like,
follow
oh,
you.
it's so viral. She's like, but Dad, you know that it's not gonna go viral, right? I'm like, why not? She's like, because you have a private account, you dip.
Are you gonna unprivate it?
Oh, well, I don't. But then everybody's gonna see my stuff, and I can't. It's personal.
That's the life. That's the life, baby.
Yeah.
You put it out on blast.
If you are a fan of the show and you want to see my top quality content, then request a follow and I'll accept it.
Okay.
I'll accept it.
Okay.
I'll accept it. But
How do
here's
they
the
find
thing. I
you?
put lots of stuff with my kids up there.
Yeah.
So I think if you're gonna, I gotta know that I can boot you if you're being a pain in the butt.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
You can, 100%. You can just block.
So I
It's not a
I
problem.
just want random
Block him,
weirdos. I want random, particularly because my daughter's a gymnast. She's kind of a
Right.
public figure now.
Right.
Like she's talk about viral. That kid actually goes viral.
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's
Absolutely.
she's
Her
like
gymnastics is
she's like her
incredible.
Uncle Jake. She puts out these friggin'. She puts out these Instagram posts and it's like 20,000 people watching them. And you're like, what the heck?
You know, the life of a influencer. What can I say?
But yeah, she is. She's like,
Yeah.
she's already out there doing that. But then, I feel like if I'm posting her personal life, I feel like that's
Right.
I'm starting to feel like that's invasive for her a little bit. And then my son too. He doesn't really like to be like he doesn't mind if people he knows sees him. He doesn't really like when the world sees what he's up to either.
I get that.
So
but,
that's kind of why I did the private.
but here's the exchange.
Yeah.
So I never post my kids.
But I want to post.
I know. So you either have to make an alternate that's just Noel Carroll and it's public facing and that's for all your exploits and shenanigans.
There's a few of those.
Or you can you'll just have to brave it. But I had to pull my kids from all my social media stuff.
take them off.
I had to take them off because it got too weird.
Well, because people suck.
They say bad things. And so I was like, I'm not doing that. I mean, I think on Instagram, like posting a photo with my kids or something isn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But when I made them kind of star in a video or something, it got a little weird. And I was like, man, I mean, Ewan is a teenager and I'm less worried about him, but my 8-year-old is too young to really be out there like that where somebody could see him in public and know his name and know his parents' names. And I was just like, I need to dial this back. So anyway, but your account, if they do want to follow you, they can't just look for Noel Carroll. They have to look for
Noltron.
Noltron.
As a child, one of my favorite shows on television was Voltron. I loved Voltron so much.
Voltron's
It was
great.
like that was my jam.
Yeah.
And so I realized my name rhymes a little bit. So it's
Noltron.
Noeltron.
So if you want to find him, you want to follow him, give him a follow, and then if you're a crummy follower and you say bad things, he's gonna boot you.
I'm gonna boot you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna boot you.
Yeah. I'm gonna boot you.
I'm kombucha.
Kombucha.
But my request is because my account is sucky and not like the cool one like you popular people have.
Yeah.
I can't share longer. Like I get the post that you put from the internet from the Biofriendly Podcast. The internet.
Love it. You're talking to me like you're my parents, and you called me. Hey, hold your calls.
Right. Guys, come on.
Hold your calls.
It's the popularity.
Popularity.
It's gotta stop.
Through the roof.
Through the roof.
So you're about to say.
Yes. So I was gonna say when I repost your videos, like the first 8 to 10 seconds I get, and then it stops and it repeats.
That's the way it works.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, so is it possible to have the first 8 to 10 seconds be
something good?
Something that's like pop.
Nope.
And then
oh, you mean you in the clip?
Yeah.
Yeah. We could do that.
Can we try to stylize our clips so that the very beginning of it is like I don't know if there's a joke right away. So many of our jokes are presented in a meandering way, which is difficult.
So that's the problem. That's the problem, right? Because and this is real talk, guys. You're hearing behind the scenes of the Biofriendly Podcast and how we market and promote.
Yeah, we're hopeless.
I think it's an interesting strategy, and I think it's worth trying. But what I found in reviewing countless hours of the Biofriendly Podcast is we usually don't ever have a pop joke and then valuable information after. You know what I mean? So it usually takes us forever to get out of the joke back into science. And so I found that if we're leading with science and we land on the joke, then the clip communicates the show, which is here's a podcast about environment, science, information, and then we land on a joke. So if we start on the joke, we usually spend an enormous amount of time, zip, laugh, 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 tangent, recovery time, and that rarely happens in under a minute and a half. And so I would never find anything that was like really led strong and then still contain some nugget of information that people were like, oh, this is an environmental podcast. But I am willing to try it. If the audience would like to see a joke and then that's what we promote, then we'll go for it.
See what happens.
See what happens. Listen, why
so
not?
we probably can't do both because of the way we do it.
Yes.
But we might be able to get a joke, but then no environment.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to pick our poison.
You got to pick your poison.
Dang.
So or
bro.
you do a double clip.
Double clip.
And so maybe you go, all right, I'm going to do a 30-second joke clip.
Yeah.
And then you turn around on Monday.
Okay.
And you do the so you do the joke clip on Friday when the episode airs. And then on Monday you do the clip that references to the science thing with the bit. I don't know. Maybe there's a double whammy room in there.
Room for double. Okay.
I don't know. But hey, it's a valuable question. We've been on the air for 200 years.
200
And
years
I think that
of top
trying
quality
these
content.
things, and if my boss wants to hear a joke, he gets to hear a joke.
I want what doesn't exist, and I want you to give me what doesn't exist immediately the way I want it. Please.
It's just so funny because when we really hit some of the funniest jokes, it is hilarious. Like the funniest is the aftermath, which you don't see in the clips because we'll hit the zing, and then there's a lot of there's a lot of wiping of eyes and wiping of noses, mine specifically.
Well, because people think that we write this show.
Yeah, right.
We
right.
don't write the show.
No, it's all.
Jacob does a bunch of research and he sits down with all these topics, and then we go, and then we just shoot the breeze.
We shoot the breeze, and by a bunch of research, you mean I print up some pages and highlight a few sentences.
A couple sentences are highlighted, guys. He literally takes a highlighter. Literally.
Yes.
He takes a highlighter
Literally.
of bright color, and he screens it across
I do.
selected lines.
Selected words.
So that he knows what
to
he
say.
needs to say, what he was going to talk. He literally does this.
Yeah.
Think about the time, the energy, the effort,
So much time.
the heart,
The heart. The soul.
the passion that Jacob has for this show.
That's right. I have so much passion.
Yeah. He even chooses like really bright colors.
I do. I try.
Like
Because I used to
bright
highlight
neons.
in black and it would always backfire. Black highlighters are really bad because everybody thinks you're hiding government secrets.
Yeah, Jacob is the only person who redacts his own research.
Oh, that's weird. This is redacted. How weird. Weird. Anyway, okay. Let's start the show.
Okay, let's start the show.
But I did at least hint up to the audience that I would explain what Jump the Shark was, and it's a good segue into what our subject is. anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. You know, and I embarrassingly did not even know what this was when we were filming Tumbleweed.
Really?
Everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to jump the shark, jump the shark."
Yeah.
And I didn't watch that episode of
Happy Days.
I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I remember walking up to Armand Vasquez. Everyone's saying jump the shark. And hey, Armand, we're cool, right? He's like, yeah. Like you wouldn't,
You wouldn't lie to me.
like
would
make fun of me forever if I asked you a question that a person who's producing a just write that down.
That's okay.
Show, for the world to see on
Yeah.
Warner, doesn't know something basic, and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, man, like, what is it? Like, what the hell does jump the shark mean?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And he told me,
Yeah.
and he was very sweet about it. And
He
he never
told you
made
the
fun of me
story.
once. He never
That's
told
good.
anybody else that I didn't know what jump the shark meant.
'Cause
Armand
Armand
Vasquez is the best.
He's a good man. He's a good man. So the long story short of what Jump the Shark is that it was an episode of Happy Days with the Fonz. And they had an episode where he literally is like surfing and he has to jump over a shark on the show. or
On the
whatever.
show.
Yeah. And so it was so ridiculous and so over the top that it became a term in Hollywood for when a show does a stunt to make you watch, like, this week clowns will be, thrown into a bounce house with
Right.
dancers or whatever. It's something like that. That move will be. People are like, why is this happening on What's that really sentimental show that people cry all the time about? Last of Us? No, not Last of Us. The other one.
That's a good show.
No, Last of Us was good, but the drama one, the one that everybody talks about crying on TV, the guy with the beard from Heroes, and it's about families, and everybody's
This Is Us.
This Is Us, not Last of Us. This
Next
is us.
week on This Is Us.
This Is Us.
Clowns bouncing in a bounce house with dancers.
Yes.
What kind of dancers do you think, Jacob?
Exotic
dancers?
dancers, yeah.
They're not wearing pants.
No. Thunder from Down Under for sure.
Yeah.
So that is called Jumping the Shark. That's when a TV show does a desperate move to make you watch. Like we're about to do right now with these clowns coming in.
Hey, welcome clowns! Welcome exotic dancers of all types.
Well, we have officially shenaniganed the hardest we have in a long time, and I think it's because we were excited that Veronica was back.
I know. It's a better show.
Yeah, it's
we
a better show.
We perform more when Veronica's here.
We do. We're on. Well, there's a little bit more fire in our
Veronica
performance.
could tell us because she's been listening very religiously to the episodes.
She did not miss one single minute of her.
She was gone. No. She listened to us on the Biofriendly Podcast. She didn't miss it.
Because you know that if you're on vacation with your friends
From your bosses.
you're sipping a pina colada on a beach in your bathing suit, you know the first thing you do is reach for your phone, cue up the podcast from work,
figure out what the jerks at work are doing,
and listen to the show that you normally would be working on while you're in the office. And she did that, obviously.
Why drink a Mai Tai and flirt with a cute dude when you could be listening to your idiot bosses talk on,
and nobody knows that more than Veronica.
Of course, guys. Obviously. Oh my God.
So she knows exactly what she missed.
Yes.
Exactly what happened before. So she understands that the show was worse.
She knows that it was worse, and now that it's better. So, all right, we're gonna dig into it. And when I said jump the shark, we have an article that it says more than 5,000 new species discovered in Pacific deep sea mining hotspot. So this was a recent excursion, and they found 5,000 unknown species in one excursion, in one spot in the ocean. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Does that not just tell you, like, everything you need to know about how little we know about anything?
Yes. It is really easy, which we've talked about on the show before, about zooming out on the Earth and just realizing just how big it is. And you do look around your neighborhood and your city and you're like, oh, Google Earth has taken a photo of everything. Like, we understand what it all is. But there's just so much that we don't know yet, especially in our ocean.
When you go to places that are difficult to see and difficult to get to the middle of, and the ocean is the prime example. That's number one. Like because there's only so long you can hold your breath. Right. There's only so deep you can take a submarine before it gets crushed under the weight of the water.
Exactly.
We can't do it. We think, we understand our planet, right? Yeah. But even on land, like you get into a jungle that's thick enough. Yeah. You know, a forest that's dark and deep enough. We don't go in there. We don't know what's in there really. We have an idea. Yeah. We look around a little bit. Yeah. There's so much on this planet. We have no clue. Yeah. There's no clue.
There's some tribes out there in the middle of nowhere that every time a human goes in from
blow darts.
Yeah, they're done. They're like they're not coming back because you basically just walked in and you were just like an unusual dish. Yeah. You know, they were like, awesome. We can't wait to cook you up later. You know what I mean? There's just people out there that do not have iPhones and they're in the middle of the jungle and they're like, do not go into those woods over there. And that's like the Google Maps car isn't driving through blow dart territory. So there's just probably things in there that we just don't know, whether it's minerals or insects or species. It's like,
and obviously that's partially a joke. It's also like it's a joke. You go into those areas and you're potentially you're a danger. You're a threat. Yeah. Right. So you're not necessarily going to get eaten. Yeah. I think some people probably there are actually we know there are cannibalistic tribes out there.
Yes.
But,
yes.
You go into the jungle. You're a danger. You're a threat. They don't know who the heck you are or what you're about, and they have seen what happens to other people when they don't just kill the guy, so they kill you.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I was told if anybody was offended by that, that's just me watching too much Indiana Jones or weird random TV and thinking about getting blow darted, and then you end up on a fire spit.
Yeah, they're spinning you around like you're
spinning around, and they're just like singing, and you're like, "Hey, I'd really like to get back to my hotel."
Jacob's the luau.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the luau. So it says scientists have discovered more than 5,000 new species living on the seabed in an untouched area of the Pacific Ocean that has been identified a future hotspot for deep sea mining, according to a review of the environmental surveys done in the area. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we only discovered it because we want the stuff there.
Yes.
Is that what I'm understanding? They want to mine and get the top quality
I think
materials.
So as far as I know, what I read in there was a contract that was basically like, here is the percentage of this area that is allowed for that. Okay. The majority of it is untouched. Do not mess. Do not change the environment. But here is a 15% of this area that you are allowed.
Okay.
So I think that's part of the deal of that ocean conservancy thing that the UN just put in, right? So that was something I came across. There is some mining, which I know.
Oof.
I know. Oof.
Way to go, UN.
I know.
Way to protect the environment.
It is the first time.
Go SDGs.
Yes, I know. Well,
let's do it.
Well, I think that given the world that we live in right now, right, with the electronics and everything, they're probably thinking to themselves, they're like, well, we have to give in a little bit of mining because we're running out of resources, correct? Like there's probably somebody that got strong-armed into it.
Chief scientist Colin Hill of Biofriendly said something very astute to me one time.
I love astute things.
He said, no, people keep telling me the world is running out of copper. Now, where did it go? What was that called? Where did all the copper go?
Yeah.
Pennies? Has it left the planet? No, I mean, I guess no, it hasn't left the planet. We didn't run out of resources. It's still here. We just need to access them and use them.
Yeah.
Pretty okay. So that's not a great call impression. It's my best.
It's pretty
it's
good.
the best
It's
I can
pretty
do.
good.
It's as good as I can get.
Yeah.
But his point, and it's a good one, is so we keep saying we're running out of nickel, we're running out of bauxite for aluminum, we're running out of steel, we're running out of this and that, we're running out of all the stuff. There's not enough lithium.
Yeah.
What? It doesn't go. We don't launch it to space. We don't shoot it into the sun.
It's in landfill.
It's still here.
Yeah, it's in piles of trash.
We just don't bother. Like instead of spending money to figure out how to reuse all of the stuff that we already have,
right?
We go and trawl, 5,000 species up out of an area we want to mine in the water.
Wait. Let's see.
Let's give them a chance.
Let's give them a chance because I don't think that this area that's been determined as this hotbed of new species and the research is. I don't think the team that found the species is the same team that's mining.
Okay.
I think they're different.
This is good.
So this is the team that is like, hey, we have a lot of life to study. And I think over there is Brian, the deep sea miners.
Right.
And they're over and they're going to go down. They're going to.
O'Brien.
Brian and the O'Brien is his name.
O'Brien. It's O'Brien and the deep sea miners.
Is that not an Irish like tavern band?
It is.
Who's playing tonight? The Pope. Oh,
it's O'Brien
and the deep sea miners.
So they're great. Sure.
So good.
You've never heard a limerick till you've heard one from O'Brien and the deep sea miners.
You've never heard a limerick in your life until you hear O'Brien and the deep sea miners take you away on one. It is the first time the previously unknown biodiversity of this is what the name of the area is called. Okay. The Clarion-Clipperton Zone.
I love the Clippers.
I know you do. I knew you would like that. The Clarion-Clipperton Zone, which is referred to as the CCZ, a mineral-rich, and that's where we're like, Brian, get out of there. Mineral-rich area of the ocean floor that spans 1.7 million square miles. No.
That's a big space.
Yeah, it is.
1.7 million square
It's
miles?
gotta be.
That can't be correct. Is it meters?
Meters?
I think it's got to be meters.
1.7
million square miles is more than the Earth.
Hold on. You're right. That's not right. Hold on. Let me find somebody who has it written in American.
Yeah, right? In American.
I am... Okay. Known as the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, or CCZ, the mineral-rich site stretches 6 million square kilometers.
6 million square kilometers. Well, okay, so if we're going deep, 6 million square kilometers?
It's huge. It says about twice the size of India, the CCZ has already been carved up into mining claims for future exploitation with companies eager to harvest.
Okay, I know where my brain's failing. My brain's failing, and my apologies to everybody.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so yeah, the Earth's circumference is like 32,000 miles, I think, or thereabouts.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, but that's just like one line around the Earth.
Right.
That's not the whole of the Earth. So I get it. Now it's coming together.
Yeah, I get it.
That still seems like a massive area.
It's massive.
Because
so here's what the story is saying. Yeah, right? Here's what the story is saying. So this is what I want to be clear about O'Brien and the deep sea miners.
Yeah.
Okay. CCZ. O'Brien and the deep sea miners. We're digging up the Earth's resources. We're going to find the metals and put them in your pedals. And then you're going to go and you listen to your iPhone.
Hey.
The CCZ, the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, has already been carved up into mining claims for future exploitation, with companies eager to harvest abundant deposits of key battery materials like manganese and cobalt that are located 4,000 to 6,000 meters below the surface. So this whole place, all these people, all these businesses have been like this. We finally found all these rich materials. But a group of scientists came along and said, hey, wait, to better understand what could be at risk in this area. So a team was hired in, and they're like, I know you guys are all anxious to get down there and get all your materials and stuff like that, but we, from London's Natural History Museum, sought to survey the region's biodiversity. Of the 5,578 species identified, approximately 90% were entirely new to science. So this museum was like, before you go and trawl and dig and mine and send all your things, we need to know how much we can fight you on this because you're disrupting habitats of species we don't know. And they came back with 90% new species. So that means that these people, gonna go mine in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, O'Brien and the deep sea miners, they're going to have a harder time because these guys are going to go and say they should not be allowed here. They should not be allowed here. They should not be allowed here. And hopefully they're going to push them further and further out of the CCZ. And then they're going to end up getting like this one little path down the middle. Oh, there's barely any copper down here.
I can't find any manganese.
Exactly.
How am I supposed to make a brass clown to bounce with my other brass exotic dancers in the bounce house?
All I ever wanted was a brass clown. Oh. Yeah. So that's why I wanted, before you were like,
before I get so mad.
Yes.
Because I'm going to get so mad now.
Because
I'm such an angry person.
No, you're not. Here's what we're going to say, is that if you've been listening to the show for 200 years.
And a lot of you have been.
There are hot button null pressure points. And yet.
The ocean is.
One of the big ones. Oof. One of the big ones. The ocean is a big one.
It is.
And so I know whenever we do subjects on the ocean and they're like, we're going to do this to the ocean to treat the ocean and it could possibly affect the environment negatively, or we're going to do this, we're going to put this on top of the ocean to reflect light. Nola's like, hey, hang on a second. You know what I mean? Because you love the ocean.
Yeah, we've messed with it already. Like the little we have done around the ocean. Because you got to understand, like, walking across America, can you imagine walking from one side of doing the Forrest Gump and jogging back and forth between Santa Monica and what was it, New Hampshire or something? I don't know, but back and forth on the country like he was doing. It would like you'd be walking nonstop forever, seeing stuff you've never seen, but like oh my God, there's so much here.
Yeah.
And that's microscopic compared to not microscopic, but it's tiny compared to the rest of the Earth.
Yes.
The rest of the ocean. Ocean is like 70% of the planet.
Exactly. And we can't get down to all that stuff.
And 70% is worse. It's more than that because it goes down so far. It goes down farther than the Himalayas go up.
Yeah.
It's crazy deep.
Yeah.
Like there's so much there. So we've barely tapped in any of it, and already we're screwing it up.
Yes, I agree. And this is, by the way, June is like World Oceans Month. This is pretty ideal that we're doing this. This is like a big time for awareness about protecting our ocean.
Hey, happy World Ocean Day.
Hey, thank you. You too. Yeah. And nobody knows the ocean more than Veronica as she sipped her Mai Tai listening to the Biofriendly Podcast in her chair and went, this is all I want to do right now is sip my cocktail and
listen to the Biofriendly Podcast. It's her favorite thing.
If you're wondering about the location of this area, it is between Hawaii and Mexico in the Pacific. That's where we're at.
Oh.
So it was.
And if it's the size of India, it's covering most of it.
Most of it.
Or a good amount of it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what we've got here. It says contracts. I just read that part. That's about the contracts for mining and all that stuff. I do have some other highlighted things here. Okay. Wanted to tell you some of the species that we found.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So this is, they didn't have a lot because there was 5,000. So I'm sure they've only released a couple pieces of information as to what's
because when there was 5,000 new things, why name them? Why tell us what they are?
Right, exactly. Well, I think it was last week.
Get on the ball, people. You've had a whole week to send me a picture of a new fish.
Oh my gosh, I love the idea that
there's a krill down there that needs me to see it.
There is, and I think that if they hired the Biofriendly Podcast to name 5,000 species, we'd be done in a weekend.
Oh my god, they already know what they are, and they would all be awesome too.
Yeah, I bet you if we were to rapid fire show a picture of like all the species, we'd go.
Franklopod.
David Hasselhoff.
Ripstick Jackson.
Sandwich Paulson. Yeah, so see, we got it.
Handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
Face.
See, handlebar mustache face. See, what are they even worried about? They're sitting there doing all these Latin names, and we're like, you guys.
Clam Dance 4000.
Yeah, Clam Dance 4000 is what the name of the bounce house is for the clowns and the exotic dangers.
Yeah, because it's a sponge. It looks like a bounce house. That's why we called it that, because it looks like a clam, but also a sponge.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
Clam Dance 4000.
Yeah. So one of the deep sea animals discovered was nicknamed the gummy squirrel.
Well, there you go.
That's a pretty good one, right?
That's a start. Now, what's the gummy squirrel look like? Do we have a picture of the gummy squirrel?
I do have a picture of the gummy squirrel, and I can show you right there. There it is.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's a picture. If you just go ahead and look right here on the screen.
That is the gummy squirrel.
Above my hand.
Okay.
You'll see the gummy squirrel. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, isn't it beautiful?
Gummy squirrel.
Yeah, so let me tell you, it says... And by the way, it says nicknamed the gummy squirrel. You know it's going to end up being like Flarbendipititis
Traumatron.
Yeah, Traumatron, exactly. It'll sound like an Autobot.
It will. Ooh. We should name them all after Autobots.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
A few Decepticons,
yeah.
but only the evil-looking ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so they nicknamed the gummy squirrel because of its huge tail and jelly-like appearance. There are also glass sponges, some of which look like vases. Pretty cool, huh?
It's pronounced vases.
Vases. I'm so sorry. Let me say that again. There are also some glass sponges, some which look like vases.
Thank you. Thank you for caring.
Yeah. The most common categories of creatures in the CCZ are arthropods, worms, members of the, what's cut off here, spider family. Yeah, spider family.
Wow.
And echinoderms, which include spiny invertebrates such as sea urchins and sponges. There's underwater spiders.
Yeah.
Yikes. I guess so.
Yeah, man. There's underwater
spiders. Underwater everything.
There's underwater basically.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know, but like, how creepy is that? That you'd be like swimming and you're like, this place is riddled with underwater spiders.
I don't know, man. Have you seen eels?
Yeah.
There's
Underwater
stuff under there
snakes.
that's just like, that's pretty, freaky looking.
Electric eels. That's one of the things in the world that you go, there is an animal that can electrocute you.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animals that have natural phosphorescence.
Yes.
They
Animals
go
that
under,
glow.
they just turn on lights.
I love that one.
Like click.
I love that one. I do. And then it's awesome when you see those photos of the ocean, the shores that have the phosphorus in the edge of the periphery of the water, and so the whole thing glows at night. Oh my gosh.
Phosphorescence, baby.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's amazing.
It's really nice. It's really cool. If you go to Catalina, a place we've talked about on the show before.
Yes.
Catalina has wonderful phosphorescence right off the coast at nighttime.
Phosphorescence.
It is. If you camp there overnight, I recommend it. You go out there and you can the island. You can register a camping spot on one of the beaches on the side. And you can kayak to them. You go around the island. You pick your little camping spot. You put up your tent, and then on most of the coast there that's facing the California side.
Yeah.
If you just kind of bat the water around, phosphorescence. You get like a glowing water.
Isn't that
Beautiful.
neat?
Yeah.
So cool. The Earth is amazing, and O'Brien and the deep sea miners are trying to take away our phosphorescence.
This is why I feel like, and maybe I'm going to yell at this for this in 3,000 years when people are listening on the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good plan to get ourselves off of this rock and onto the rocks that appear to have nothing on them but resources.
Right.
So like to
Space
go
exploration.
to get up onto the moon and get up onto Mars and to explore them properly. Let's see what's there. Let's actually get into it and see, like, is there anything here that we're disturbing and messing with, and figure that part out, which we won't because money comes first, but we should. And then if it is in fact just a cold dead rock, as we suspect it might be, like that's that. Go mine there.
Go mine that.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody living up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great. I hope we get there.
Yeah.
We're getting closer.
You're
hearing a lot of these missions.
This is why I get all excited about SpaceX.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that fella who has that company is, he gets controversial now and again because he's a billionaire, and I guess that's what they do.
And billionaires get crazy.
They do get a little crazy.
They always do.
And look, he does some crazy stuff. But I love the idea of, like, let's just rush this. Let's spend the money and let's blow up a few rockets and figure out how to do it right quickly.
Yeah.
And let's get some resources up there and let's start figuring out how to get onto these things.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. So I think that to me is a better plan. Like, let's get up there and figure out what's on those.
Yeah.
And mine those.
And I think we can assemble a team of oil drillers and put them on a rocket. Send him up into space with Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck.
So, just real quick, do you think it's a better move to teach the drillers how to be scientists, or is it a better move to teach the scientists to be drillers? Because I feel like there's like it's machinery that you're drilling with.
I'm gonna go with teach the oil drillers to be scientists. And I know this has been covered on the show before.
Which one takes more time?
I think that what you got to do is 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
You teach 8 oil drillers, blue-collar workers, to be NASA-equipped science astronauts.
Yeah, who can also fly planes and
Yeah.
So, like, they're both Air Force pilots and scientists.
All of it
All
in 6
one.
months.
In 6 months, we can do it.
Last 5.
Yeah, 5 months. Plan B, just a thought.
Okay.
Crazy. Why don't we send up astronauts? And we train 2 people who know how to drill to just not die, and just go up there and let the astronauts keep them alive, and then they get up and then they can drill.
You've obviously never worked on an oil rig. Hardest job in the world, man.
It is.
All right, couple more species, and then we're gonna wrap this puppy up.
I clearly don't know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, you don't. A crinoid, also known as a sea lily. This is a picture of them loading it onto a disc, and it like we hear sea lily, and then you go, oh, it looks like it's from the movie Alien.
Yeah, so here it is up here, ladies and gentlemen, up on the screen above us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a lily at all. That looks like it does. It looks like
an alien.
Yeah.
It looks like the thing that's going to jump up on your face.
It looks like that thing that's going to impregnate you.
Yes.
Right? It goes into your face and then works its way into your belly, and then it fills you with an alien that's going to then jump out of your stomach.
Yes.
And kill you.
So they try to give them cute names like gummy squirrel and sea lily, and then you look at it and you go, ugh.
Yeah. So look,
Catfish.
we're protecting. Yeah, we're being catfished.
Yeah.
And it's not by a catfish.
Yeah. It's not a catfish.
No, it's not a catfish at all. It's an underwater alien spider.
Yeah. Catfishes are great because I love that they have like kind of mustaches.
Oh, they're so cool.
I love catfishes.
They're great.
They are great. They're such funny faces.
Yeah, they are.
Sorry. You were making a point about ugly species. We were talking about sea lily, gummy squirrel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've changed my perspective completely. This is my nightmare fuel. Let's drill. Let's drill.
He's like, forget the CCZ.
If this is what the rest of the species on the planet look
Yikes.
like, I am out. I'm out. Murder them all. Forget Mars.
We're literally in an environmental meeting, and they're like, we've discovered a cave on Earth that there are 1,200 new species in the dark mines, so we can't mine there. And then they show a picture to Noel, and he's on the table, and they're like, this is the first one. And he's like, it's hideous.
It's hideous.
Forget it. Let's nuke that place.
Let's just go ahead and send out a nuclear bomb.
Right.
Blow it all up, and then we'll pull out the resources.
Yeah, I don't care what's in there.
Pull out the radiated resources and give them to kids.
If these creatures aren't cute, then good riddance. We're kidding. 'Cause-
I did not actually change my position on the oceans.
Because they know that because we did an episode 123 years ago, which was about the.
Do you remember those days?
Oh yeah, it was about endangered animals that are ugly, ugly endangered animals. Because we were like,
and we still to this day don't we donate to the ugly?
We do.
Ugly endangered.
Absolutely, because we know that like the panda gets a lot of praise, and all the really cutesy ones get a lot of praise. But there's like the blobfish and all these other ones that have a hard time, and everybody looks at them and they go, "Yeesh!" And nobody gives a donation, because they're not pretty,
right?
And so
we actually donate to those. I actually love these species you're showing me, and I'm happy that they've been found and that we know that they exist and that we want to try to protect them and leave them alone.
And get O'Brien and the deep sea miners out of there.
A little bit.
Yeah. So
it's hard to mine in the ocean anyway.
It is, guys.
Much easier to mine in space.
That's the movie. Deep Sea Miners, and you send them in space. Yes. O'Brien, you put the Irish
and the Deep Sea Miners in space.
Call now for the pitch, Netflix.
We are selling the rights.
Yes, O'Brien and the Deep Sea Miners in space. Yes. The last Miami. Yes. Miami. Oh yeah, so it's O'Brien and the Deep Sea Miners in space. Miami. A starfish of the species Hymenaster.
Yep.
Also known as the slime star, is seen after being transferred into an ethanol-filled specimen jar for scientific preservation. So it's hard to make this out. It just kind of looks like a lump of brown tissue there. Mm-hmm. But hey, man,
I think that might be my brain. Did someone take my brain out and put it in a dish?
I was gonna say, so
here
this is Noel's brain. This is your brain in a ethanol-filled specimen jar.
If you're wondering why the jokes have gone downhill the last little while,
it's
because someone took my brain and threw it into a dish.
Yeah.
And they're touching it with their fingers?
They are.
Oh, my
God.
are. Guys, leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Well, they already put it in an ethanol preserved thing. I think the guy's gone. I don't think he's going to make it.
What if that was the last one?
I'd feel terrible.
What if that was the last one?
You gotta have some words with this team then, because they could be grabbing the very last one to discover, and he's like, "No, I'm the last of my kind." No. Out of the water. I hope not. I hope not. Maybe
5,000 new species. Now we're down 5. Now there's only 4,332 left.
I wonder if that's a rule when they're underwater and they discover something that they want to bring to the surface that they're like, that's weird. Never seen anything like that before. I wonder if there's a rule that they've got to do it's like the Noah's Ark rule. There's got to be like 2.
Got to be 2.
There's got to be 2.
Yeah.
And they're like
until here's how that goes, right? They pull up. They see 2. They pull up one and go, oh, how interesting. After researching, we realized that this is a species that requires 3 to reproduce.
Yeah, right. Totally. If you take away its mate, the species dies.
Yeah.
So I wonder, there's got to be some kind of thing that they do when they're down there where they're like, well, don't grab that. That's like the only one down here. So we'll just take pictures of it and a little sample or something.
Well, also, you don't know what its defense mechanisms are.
Right.
For all you know, you touch that thing and it's got murder sauce.
Total murder sauce. Yeah. And look, that one plant looked like it was from the movie Alien that launches the eggs in your face.
Yes.
That could very well.
What if that's launching eggs in their face?
That could very well be the next pandemic. We all get eggs in our face with murder sauce.
Could we just leave people alone, man? Leave things alone, man.
It sounds like a dish you'd order at a very high-end restaurant. It's like, do you have the eggs in the face with murder sauce? Right this way, Mr. Billionaire.
Oui, monsieur. We have it right here on the back. If you could just take a seat right here next to the endangered tiger.
We're going to see
the dancing clown in
the Clam 5,000 bounce house, whatever it is. But that, guys, is 5,000 new species discovered in a exploration. And so what we hope is that they will be able to present this to the UN, to O'Brien, and say, stop. Don't drill. Don't go down there. Leave them alone. And they win. And everybody cheers.
Yay! Stadium full of people.
Yes, exactly.
All screaming about the victory.
But what will probably happen is a billionaire, trillionaire will come along and be like, nope, I want those goods. That's probably what's really going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, so long as my iPhone can remain under $1,000,
Exactly. And it's zippy.
I can still get a taco for $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
big
actually,
deal.
that's not fair for me to end the Beacon of Light on a Gloomy Environment
You're
show
right.
with a bad point.
The good news.
The good news is
it is an example, I think, for all of us to see that there is so much we don't know about our planet, and there are so many more fun species that we got to learn about.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to see that now that money is going in and we're realizing, oh God, we probably should take a look before we go tearing things apart, we're learning some stuff.
We are.
And think about how much we can find out from these different species, all jokes aside, like by taking a look at them and seeing what they're about and finding out about our planet, the history of it,
It's amazing.
where we come from, where all of that comes from, what it's like under those deep pressure situations.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic.
Fantastic. And
Golly.
to Colin's point, which was a good point, the things that we need to realize is there's a lot of species yet to be discovered, and we have a lot of resources that we are already using.
Mm-hmm.
So, instead of focusing all of our energies and digging up more things from the earth, let's look what we got around us, because I'm sure there are piles of trash and garbage out there that are loaded with materials and resources that are unused and can be pulled out, recycled, reused, remanufactured. And so that's just the part of the process that this world has to get better at, which is if you're going to put it in the iPhone, you got to take it back out of it and use it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, and if we're going to decide that technology put into the iPhone now needs to be made even larger and put into cars and trucks and ships and planes.
Yeah, big things.
Trains, automobiles.
Automobiles.
Steve Martin.
Yeah. And
And John Candy. We're going to reanimate him. This is
Bring him
probably
back.
getting a little dark. Am I getting a little dark?
A little dark.
A little dark. Okay. That we got to be able to recycle that stuff.
Right.
You got to be able to reuse it because the battery's going to. Who here has had that battery on their phone last them forever? Anyone here? Has anyone seen that? Anyone? No. It gets worse and worse over time, and it fails, and then eventually dies. Mm-hmm. That happens to the batteries also that we're going to be dealing with for our renewable energy and for our cars and the rest of it. The batteries are going to die.
Right.
So instead of going into the ocean and digging up more stuff, I was going to use a bomb, but I didn't.
Close.
I kept it together.
Close.
Using more stuff. Let's start researching and figuring out how do we recycle this material and use it again.
Exactly.
Because it all still exists.
Yes, it all still exists. So I think that's important to remember. Those are our takeaways from today, is that there's a beautiful world out there that we have yet to discover all the beautiful things and ways that we can get to know our planet better. There's room for space exploration and getting resources out there. And there's we got a long way to go for recycling things. Those are the things that we're saying and ending the show on a positive note.
Positivity.
Mm-hmm. But with that, that's the Biofriendly Podcast, guys. Thank you.
Tell your neighbor.
Tell your neighbor.
I want you to go next door to your neighbor's house. I know you haven't met your neighbor because we live in a modern world, not the old one. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and walk over to your next door neighbor, knock on their door, and say, hey, have you heard the Biofriendly Podcast?
Yes, do that.
Yeah,
do that.
and so you should listen to the Biofriendly Podcast. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's really informative.
Yeah.
And you're going to be a better person because of it.
And if you're really shy, you can text your phone neighbor. And
Phone
what that
neighbor.
is you take your phone number
That's right.
and you go one number up on your last digit and just send a text and be like, hey, have you heard the Biofriendly Podcast? And they'll go, who's this? Just be like, sorry, wrong number.
sorry.
But hey, you just promoted the show.
Boom.
Boom. So
Boom.
now...
Actually, if you announce yourself as your phone neighbor, you might make a friend.
Hey, phone neighbor.
Yeah.
I've been checking out the Biofriendly Podcast. By the way, that's a real thing that people did for a while.
Yeah,
They're on the
phone
internet,
neighbor.
the phone neighbor, which was you just take your phone number and you go one digit up, one digit down.
Down. Both. Either way.
Either way,
Can you go
doesn't
one
matter.
digit sideways?
Yes. Of course. You'll end up talking to Noltron. But that's what you should do.
And we'll have a nice conversation.
You'll have a nice conversation. He has all the sideways numbers. I'm about to sneeze. Hold on.
Please sneeze so hard. Oh my God, did you guys hear that? He doesn't actually sneeze. See how that works?
I hold it in.
He holds it
my
in.
My eyes are coming out of my ocular
His entire
cavities.
body explodes.
It does.
But then it was okay. It was fine. He comes
right.
back together.
I come back together. Yeah. We have been your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Giving you top quality content since 1823.
Science without the shaming.
Green without the groaning.
Inspiring fear and love.
This show is about patience.
Careful, you'll catch feelings. This is where we got lost.
3 frogs walked into a bar.
Yes. So this
was good.
This is where
This is the one we don't know. This is the last one, right?
This is the
Yes, this is the last one that knows.
And we did them all, though, did we?
except
You
for the
did,
last one.
yes. You just changed. Yeah, yes, you did.
What did we change?
What did I
both-
change?
What
What did I change?
did
You said science without the shaming.
I did. But
And
is
it's
it-
supposed to be science
stiffness.
without the stiffness.
I've
But
been-
you're good, you're great, you're awesome.
Yeah, but I've been saying
See how positive she is,
I
how
know.
kind she
Past 2 weeks, I've been saying science without shaming because I keep forgetting stiffness.
Yes.
But I
Do you like shaming better?
I
than
mean, it
the
seems-
shaming?
Don't forget stiffness.
I know. You can't forget stiffness, especially with the bounce house on the way. But I don't know why it is, but I keep forgetting saying science without stiffness. I keep thinking it's like science without like wagging the finger. Like we don't shame
Shame.
people.
Yeah.
But
Anyway. It's because we're not loose.
stuffy.
We're loose.
loose. So I need to go back to
very
stiffness.
loose.
I am going to be harder on myself, and I'm going to spend the next week beating myself and remembering
Because
that
green
it's science.
without the groaning kind of handles the shame. a
Exactly.
little bit,
Green
'cause
without
people are
groaning.
like,
So it's going to be science without the stiffness. But what's the one that we forgot
every week.
every week?
Sorry. Corn Dog Rogers and Kerosene Guy have had a lifelong battle in my head.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. Corn Dog Rogers and Kerosene Guy have had a lifelong battle in my head. That's going to be a tough one to remember.
Boy, oh boy.
Corn Dog Rogers
And Kerosene Guy.
and Kerosene Guy have had a lifelong battle in my head.
Yeah.
They have, though.
They have. That is a great one, and I'm
There's a reason we
urging you
forgot it.
not to give up on it.
I'm not going to give up. I'll get it by December.
By
I'll
December
have it memorized.
31st, you will have that one down.
Yeah, just in time for you to tell me they're done.
They're done.
No more. Starting over.
But then on January 1st, 2024, you'll lay in bed and you'll go, Corn Dog Rogers and Kerosene Guy. He'll remember it for the rest of his life.
Lifelong battle. Yeah. Well, it's like I still sometimes will, like when you start the run, I will
text.
still sometimes think carefully avoiding neonicotinoids.
I do too. There's a lot of things and I think this show is a joke. I think of a lot of the old ones.
Yeah.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
we welcome back the exit that you've missed for 2 weeks. Veronica, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes. Stop and smell the flowers.
I mean,
The show was not a show without
the
that.
show is not a show without that.
Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.